Hello, everyone, and welcome to episode 67 of the Anime Banter podcast with your hosts Turtle, Sean, and Mike. Thank you for joining us today. How are you two doing?
I'm hanging in there. What about you boys?
Oh, I'm doing fine.
Also hanging in there. I wish this heat would finally break here because it is not fun to go outside right now.
No, it is not. It's been in the 90s in Pittsburgh for quite a while.
Real feel in the hundreds every day. It's like, oh, this is fine. Global warming, it's totally fake.
I haven't been outside much.
It's
Not
for the
gonna lie.
best.
Yeah, let me tell you, it's hot.
Like, I know it's bad whenever I go to the gym at 5 in the morning and it's already 70 degrees.
Yeah, and the humidity is like 83%.
Yep. It's like, oh, this is fun. Go to the gym at 6 in the morning and it's 80 degrees. You're like, oh, neat. I'm going to just go into the gym sweating from walking from my house to the car and from my car to the gym. Fun.
Yeah, I've been indoors mostly because I've been playing Final Fantasy XIV's new expansion, Dawntrail.
Ooh.
I was going to say, Sean, tell us why you're not leaving the house right now.
Yeah. No, yeah. So this is what the gaming world does to me. Thank goodness I don't play Elden Ring, because I would have had to play, that expansion. But like they released the Destiny 2 expansion, which I'm still not quite done with. Oh, don't worry, if there are any Destiny fans listening, we're gonna get to it whenever I beat it. So
Which might be 3 years from now.
might be 3 years from now, but we're gonna get to it.
You will beat it.
Yeah. And then obviously Elden Ring came out, so any gamers out there playing Elden Ring, and then the Final Fantasy 14 expansion dropped. So yeah, we're in an interesting time in gaming. And then I think there's a next month there's a World of Warcraft expansion. I don't play WoW, but I'm sure at least one listener does. Um, but yeah, I'm gonna give you guys my quick rundown of Dawntrail. With Endwalker, they kind of finished the expansion before. They finished like their saga. If you just played through Endwalker, you could probably consider it a complete game and just put it down forever if you wanted to. But they have more adventures for us, and they made some interesting decisions. It's the expansion where, for most of the expansion, I would say over 50%, you follow a character named Wak Lamut, and she is a uh, cat girl, but in the sense that she's more cat than girl. Uh, they I guess there's a race in the game called Hrothgar, and I'm like, yeah, this is furry bait. So I guess if you're a furry, you might really enjoy this race. If you're not a furry, you're just like, okay, it's there. Um, but you follow her, and if you like Wak Lamont, the story's like kind of okay. You're not having a bad time. If you dislike Wak Lamont, then you're having a very bad time. Wak Lamont has some of that naive anime protagonist energy. Some of that Naruto believe it type of stuff. And I don't know if that rubs you the wrong way. Sorry. Definitely. I didn't mind it. It was fine. But Act One, there's like two acts, kind of. Act One takes up a little more of the game than I think it should, and then Act Two is very interesting, but they made some story and character decisions that I didn't like. Uh, the zones are great. The graphical update's fun. The music's pretty good for the most part. So overall, and when you play it, if you play through Endwalker, you have to consider that Dawntrail is essentially a soft reboot of the series. So you have to go in, give them the benefit of the doubt that they're going to tell a good story over time because they have the next 10 years of this thing planned out. So let's trust in the writers to give us the first half of the game, the first arc of the game, to bring us a positive second, um, saga to tell in this game. So overall, uh, would see if you played Final Fantasy 14, absolutely would suggest Dawntrail. If you haven't played Final Fantasy 14, I just want to know, until now, have you heard of the critically acclaimed MMORPG Final Fantasy 14 with a free trial up to level 70 where you can play the A Realm Reborn and critically acclaimed Heavensward expansion, and now the Stormblood expansion. So Join up. Reach out to us on social media. I'll tell you what world I'm on.
Hashtag not sponsored, but Square Enix, you could sponsor us if you want.
I was gonna say Sean would probably love a Squeenix sponsorship.
I wouldn't. I don't even want money. I just like, what can you guys give me in the video game?
Give me my in-game perks.
That's what I'm saying. Give me some nice mounts and minions.
I might just wait to play 14 until everything's free.
There you go. I like that strategy.
Play the long game.
Well, eventually, Final Fantasy XI. I don't know if Square Enix supports the servers or not, but Final Fantasy XI is the kind of game where you could run your own server if you wanted to. But 14, you can't do that. You have to use their servers. But eventually, 14 will become so old that they'll probably shut down the service, right? Surely they can't run an MMO for 30 years. Oh wait, World of Warcraft is still going. Final Fantasy XI had to be stopped though. It was a PlayStation 2 era game, for goodness sake.
Yeah, for sure. And the fact that, 14 from what I recall, I've never played 14. I can't get into the whole subscription thing. I just can't do it. But I've heard many incredible things. So to all you 14 players who are listening, more power to you. I want you to play the hell out of the game and enjoy it. I've heard nothing but great things.
Yeah, we have a friend who consistently tries to get Turtle to play.
Yes, he does try, but I can't do the subscription, man. And MMOs are not my favorite thing. I've tried a few back in the day, and it's just not really my scene,
You have to invest the time.
which I don't have a lot of.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, it's I just on YouTube. I recently watched somebody kind of do a breakdown on 14 and sort of just do some broad strokes here and there. But they talked about the original release of 14 and how it was rather rough, and for them to totally flip it on its head and it become this long running game that it is. It's fascinating, and it's bravo to Square Enix for sticking with it and rebooting it and trying something new and having it last and sustain. So congratulations to them, and congratulations to the players who are enjoying it.
And it passed Final Fantasy VII for most lucrative Final Fantasy game for Square Enix. So they've made more money off of Final Fantasy XIV than they have any other Final Fantasy game. But with a subscription service in an online store selling aesthetics, the MMO model is made to be a money machine.
That's the only way that they were gonna surpass 7, though.
Oh yeah, well yeah, exactly. No, I mean, to be fair to Seven though, I mean, they released a lot of that stuff in like the '90s, and prices were a lot lower back then, to say the least. So
Also true. Also true.
Seven's credit. Am I saying Final Fantasy 14 is better than Final Fantasy Seven? Well, it's hard to say, but I don't want to start a war.
No, no wars. You know what? That's an opinion thing. Maybe, maybe you listener, you're a huge MMO fan and like this is like the best game ever for you. Awesome. We're not trying to start a war. One is not better than the other. You prefer one over the other. And that's cool. Play 14.
Wait, I thought the popular internet thing to do is to say the one that you liked was the best. Everyone who likes the other one is dumb, and
Well, I'm breaking
just
trends. The internet
yeah.
can
I
suck it.
also Do you ever feel like we're too old for that internet trash? Like arguing in the comment sections of like social media. Like I go on TikTok and it's the place where like I see like a 13-year-old like arguing with like a 50-year-old with a PhD in the comment section of TikTok, and I'm like, this isn't how it's supposed to be.
No. No, that's why I'm glad I don't do the whole social media thing. I can't handle that. Yes, I am too old and I just don't have enough time for that and I don't care. I'm gonna trust the 50-year-old with the PhD anyway. He's got a PhD.
Yeah, for some reason that guy gets less likes though. I'm kidding. I'm kidding.
Well, that's because all the other followers are friends of the 13-year-old. They don't know any better. They're 13. With age comes wisdom, life experience. You learn things as you go, but you got to keep an open mind.
Yeah, I was gonna say that's why we always make fun of the boomers, right?
And just because you're older doesn't mean you're always right. You still have to keep an open mind and be ready to learn new things.
That's where a lot of people miss the mark.
Yeah, it happens. But it's never too late. Keep an open mind, everybody. Somehow this turned into like a pep talk kind of thing.
Yeah, but you know what's gonna have to happen here. I think that the military is going to have to keep an open mind when they eventually find out that Kafka's a kaiju, right?
Uh-oh. We gotta keep our fingers crossed for that moment.
I don't know if they're going to get to that.
Will they ever find out that Kafka is a kaiju? There's only one way to find out, and that's to continue our discussions on Kaiju number 8. And also, we have to figure out how the heroes will defeat All for One in My Hero Academia.
What a segue.
Thank you. I try. It was a long winded segue, but we eventually got there. Today, we are talking about episode 6 of Kaiju number 8 and season 7, episode 5 of My Hero Academia. Kaiju number 8, episode 6. Saga Mihara Neutralization Operation at Daybreak. The episode begins in the war room. Mina walks in and asks for a rundown of the situation. We learn that an emergency kaiju alert has been announced at 3 a.m. Talk about a rough wake-up call. We see the military evacuating citizens, some of which are wondering why the defense force isn't there yet. JSDF is setting up an artillery command post. The Hanju looks like a bunch of mushrooms with bright red spots. It doesn't look too intimidating. While it may not be intimidating, it's reproducing like rabbits. Mina works out the attack plan and the best place to neutralize the target. We see the new recruits in a van on their way to the battlefield. Hoshina wonders if they're ready. Kafka starts to fight the urge to puke. Cue the opening credits.
Uh, Kafka puking once again. It's simple but effective comedy. Thank you, Kaiju number 8.
Helps to break the tension. And can we talk about that episode title for a minute? Why is it so long?
I wrote it down. I'm like, oh, you gotta be shitting me. Like,
Do they have to put at daybreak?
Yeah.
I guess Saga Mihara neutralization operation would probably be like the max you would want to put. Like 3
Yeah.
words, but long words.
You could have just went with neutralization operation. Or even operation at daybreak would have been fine. It's not this whole thing.
what if there's another operation at daybreak later in the season?
Well, then operation at daybreak 2.
Part 2.
Done.
We see a montage of the various areas of the battlefield prepping for the assault. Kafka and the rest of their new recruits are in the neutralization area. Hoshina gives the troops a mission briefing. The new recruits are in charge of taking out the Yoju while Mina focuses on the Hanju. We learn that their performance is based off of how much damage the Yoju cause, how much it will cost to fix, and how long fixing it will take. The divisions with the new recruits will be deployed at the rear, aka the last line of defense. Time to roll out.
Yeah, this is just a typical battle strategy thing. We're getting info dumped before the actual action.
Kafka can feel the pressure mounting, but is absolutely pumped by what is about to happen. The Yoju were naturally spotted first in Kafka's region. He says, "Let's roll out," to Shinomiya. She wonders, who is he to tell her what to do? We see Shinomiya and the rest of the crew jump off the building. And then there's Kafka, who slowly climbs down the building.
I really loved that. That got me. That made me laugh.
I
Oh,
enjoyed that as
I kind of
well.
like. I was like, "What? Why didn't he jump?" And I'm like, "Oh yeah, he's only has 1%. He'll die."
I just love all the young people are like, yeah, let's go, come on, let's effing go, let's go. And then there's Kafka like, yeah, come on, let's go. And then he gets to the edge of the building, he's like, I'll meet up with you guys. It's pretty far away down.
I'll be there in a minute.
Hey, but they're not helping him. You know what I mean? They're like, hey, if you slow us down, you're done here. Like, it's kind of like his big test, and he's not doing great.
Mina has arrived on the scene via helicopter. They call for the artillery team to provide backup fire for her. The artillery squad fires at the Hanju, trying to get it to move towards Mina. Hoshina wants to see the newbies blow them away with their first mission. Kafka unleashes his combat power as a Yoju runs him over, sending him ass over tea kettle into a pile of garbage. Some grizzled vet can't believe they have to watch the new kids. Shinomiya is not pleased by this comment. Shinomiya begins blasting at the Yoju, absolutely mowing them down. Kafka gives her 2 big thumbs up and says, "Nice!" Shinomiya blushes and her heart rate rises. Uh-oh, Sean.
No, no.
They're going there.
None of this like age gap BS. Like none of this daddy issue garbage. Like just we're gonna move on. I'm
Oh,
sure it's only that way because she's worried about keeping his secret, right? Right?
Exactly. The show
No,
is definitely not shipping them.
no other reason.
yeah. Honestly, I kind of like this scene. I don't think they're setting up a ship. She's just like she's not used to getting compliments. Is what it seems like to me. Obviously, her father's not giving her any sort of compliments. She's never good enough. So for her to get a compliment from a friend, a coworker, that means a lot to her, and she doesn't know really how to react to that. So I do not think it's a ship thing.
Well, he is her biggest fan,
He is, yes.
according
He,
to the other people there.
I heard he's making a website for
He really gets her heart going. I love how she was like, "Shut up, suit. No one asked you."
her. That was a good moment too.
In Sector F, we see Furuhashi take out some Yoju with help from some of the vets. He brags to Ichikawa, who takes down a Yoju with ease by himself, shocking Furuhashi. Ichikawa swapped out his burst rounds for frost rounds to slow the Yoju down. Ichikawa wants to continue getting stronger so Kafka will never have to transform.
Yeah, good luck with that.
Yeah, the show's named after him. He's definitely going to transform again.
You mean it's not Ichikawa number 8?
I mean, it could have changed. Let me double check. No, still says Kaiju number 8.
In Sector J, Kaguragi is firing at a Yoju, absolutely obliterating it. We see Izumo firing at a group of Yoju from a rooftop. We meet Nakanoshima, the platoon leader for this sector. We learn that Kaguragi is at 6 kills, stealing 4 of those kills from Izumo. Nakanoshima goes into what the show calls, quote unquote, cougar mode, drooling over the 2 rookies, saying, "Mama's eating good this year." Kaguragi is up to 8 kills, stealing another one from Izumo in the process.
Cougar mode is a new one for me.
Cougar mode is a choice that you made, Mike.
That's a new one for me.
Wait, did the show call it that?
Yeah, no, the
Yeah.
show called it cougar mode.
Oh
That
crap, I missed that.
Yeah, that was in a mic call. That was a
I
show
thought that was a
call.
Mike call.
Nope.
No, Joe
Even
called it.
Mama's eating good this year. Thank you for putting these quotes in here.
Of course.
I feel like I missed this part. I'm gonna have
Yeah.
to go rewatch this part for
Going to
research.
we're rewatching Cougar mode in
Yeah.
incognito mode.
Hey, how you know about incognito
Sean's like, guys, we need to take a 15-minute break. We'll talk to you here in 15 minutes.
Cougar mode, engage.
And now it is time for the Cougar mode of the week.
Oh no.
Kafka is impressed by how well everyone is doing, while beating himself up for not doing more to help. He smacks himself in the face as he starts to tear apart a dead Yoju to study its anatomy. He says it looks like any normal spore Yoju, but the core isn't in the usual spot. He calls Hoshina to let him know that the core is located at the base of the neck, but it's protected by the Yoju's spine. that flanking it will allow lower powered members a shot at killing them. Kafka also tells them, more importantly, that these Yoju have their own reproductive organs. Hoshina is very impressed by Kafka. Kafka moves out to try to neutralize any corpses in the area.
I'm kind of shocked that like Kafka seems to be the first person they have on the team that can like get on the ground and like try to analyze these kaiju as they're fighting them. This seems like a really good idea to me.
I mean, you figure most of these Defense Force people have always been in the kill, kill, kill mode. They've always done well in school. They've always had the highest test scores for killing kaiju. So they've never had to really think about the nitty gritty details.
You know, having a guy on the ground who can go over the dead bodies and be like, "Oh, there's a weakness here." That makes them easier to kill. Hey, everybody, shoot here. That just makes so much sense to me. Like, why have you guys not done this before?
What do you think? What do you call it? He just knows so much because of how long he did the cleanup crew, right? Because that's where he gets all his knowledge, right? So he's done the cleanup crew thing. So like some of these people, they've almost never really like outside of the like they went to the academy or whatever, and then they went and killed some Yoju in the competition here. But besides that, I don't know how much actual monster exposure some of the people have had. Even people in combat situations, Kafka has been up close and personal with more monsters probably than people who see consistent combat.
As Kafka runs towards corpses, a loud bang can be heard and a bright light appears behind Kafka. We learn the attack on the Hanju has commenced. Mina is on the scene with her BFG. She is cleared to fire at the Hanju. She has a flashback of her and Kafka as kids. She tells Kafka to take a look at where she is in terms of power and how freaking cool she is. Her unleashed combat power is 96%. She fires at the Hanju, blowing a massive hole in it, but she misses the core. The main characters are shocked at her power. Mina reloads and is cleared to fire, destroying the head of the Hanju, and the Hanju collapses. Mina reloads again and is ready to fire once more, much to the shock and hesitation of the command center. She receives clearance to fire, and the Hanju has received critical damage and has stopped moving. Mina is ready to fire again. The command center says, "Stop! Stop! It's already dead!" But Mina commands them to give the order, and she fires once again.
Overkill.
I love that though. The extra shot, I'm like, yeah. Anytime we get to see them fire the big gun, I'm just like, yeah, this shit is cool.
Someone watched Zombieland. She knows you got to do the double tap.
I forgot about that movie.
I never forget the double tap though.
Kafka is impressed and says seeing her power in person is completely different than seeing it on TV. Hoshina appears, asking if he's ready to throw in the towel. That if Kafka wants to stand by Mina, he has to match her level of strength. Kafka wonders if that means Hoshina is able to match that level of power. Hoshina says, "Not a chance!" freaking out Kafka. Hoshina says, in terms of guns, his power level is trash, but he excels at taking down small and medium sized threats. A Yoju appears behind Hoshina. Kafka calls it out, but Hoshina is able to slice and dice it into pieces without us seeing him move a muscle. We learn that captains and vice captains are given specialized gear that support their strengths.
Yeah, I mean, all this was cool. Kafka's rightfully impressed. But Hoshina is a pretty interesting guy. He did the anime trope thing where he barely moves and cuts a thing in a billion pieces. So I'm sure we'll see that used a lot more in the future.
I'm kind of tired of seeing that trope, but at the same time, like I get it. It definitely
Japan loves
has.
it.
They
Japan can't
do.
get enough of it.
It does have an impact. But I love the world building aspect of like, well, when you reach a certain level of skill, the department actually gives you equipment that makes you better in the areas that you're strong in. And that's a nice touch.
The Hanju is down, but now for the real threat. The swarms of Yoju inside its body. We see this large swarm moving throughout the city. Hoshina says, it's cleanup time. Izumo says, this feels like a whole new mission. Nakanoshima wraps her arms around Kagaragi and Izumo, asking, what's up, boys? And says they can let the vets take care of the cleanup if they want. They respond in unison that they're heading back out.
You guys don't want to fall behind.
They gotta impress Cougar.
Got to keep up with the pack.
Yeah, I'm not gonna lie though. If I was a recruit, never mind. I won't say anything about him.
I have a suspicion as to where you were gonna go with that.
Never
Sean just
mind.
went incognito mode. We learn that the stamina and unleashed combat powers are dwindling for the new recruits due to fatigue of their first mission. Hoshina says if they pull through this, they'll come out stronger. That most people plateau around 25 to 30% power. Shinomiya is currently the only recruit that has shown the ability to exceed that. But Ichikawa is showing immense potential to do it as well. Furuhashi can't believe Ichikawa's power.
Uh, yeah, Ichikawa kicking some butt.
Yeah, I was not too shocked at this. I don't know why. Something told me, they introduced this character fairly early. I felt like that he was going to rise in the ranks fairly quickly.
They run off to another sector. They come across a monster sweeper, aka a member of the cleaning crew. Furuhashi says they need to stay clear until the fighting is over. We learn that the sweeper is none other than Top Hat Kaiju, disguised in human form, and that he gave the Hanju and Yoju their reproductive organs. He wonders how they knew to look for them. He looks at the two as our episode ends.
Oh man, I'm starting to sweat.
I'm actually kind of surprised we saw the top hat guy again so soon. I don't know why. Sometimes I feel like that villain that they throw out there, you don't see them for quite a while. But no, he's just back already.
Hell of a cliffhanger.
Yeah, it is.
What did the two of you think of this episode of Kaiju number 8?
It's a good one. They give us an adequate amount of um like setup and action, like right in a row. So um like I wasn't really bored at any point this episode. And I thought they did a really good job of highlighting a few lesser known characters. I feel like we spent a good amount of time gauging where people's abilities were and getting to know like the captain and vice captain's real abilities. So yeah, it felt like a very educational episode. I was cool with that.
I thought it was a good episode. I don't think I would say it's a great episode. I didn't hate it or anything. I did enjoy it. It was a fun watch. And it did give us some setup for what's going to be coming in the future here, especially with the Top Hat Kaiju character. But I mean, I wasn't sure what I was expecting because we're following the rookies. I wasn't sure if they were going to show off more of these seasoned veteran characters to see, what are they going to aim for? What are their objectives? Like, how strong do they need to get? They kind of didn't do that. I kind of would have liked a little bit more of that. And I don't know, the whole Mina thing, like we already saw her shoot a big gun in like episode 1, so we knew she was good. We knew everybody looked up to her. And we see her shoot a bigger gun, but I don't know, I feel like I wanted a little bit more that wasn't necessarily so much focused on Mina. Like we knew she was incredible, but I wanted to see what are some of these other veteran characters who've been doing this for a long time. Like, what are their skill sets? How strong are they? Where do our characters need to, rise to? So I don't know. I just felt like that could have been a little bit more intriguing, but still a good episode.
I thought this was a really good world building episode. We got to see the new recruits on their first mission. We got to see the various power levels of them in like a real world scenario. We got to see Mina be a badass. We got to see what Hoshina can do. We get the threat of Top Hat Kaiju and what might be to come. So I thought this was a really great world building episode. You know, I'm feeling a little thirsty before we start talking about My Hero.
You should have some water.
I don't know. They say alcohol's the best medicine.
Water's good for you too, especially in this heat.
That's a good point.
I'm ruining your segue. I'm sorry.
It's all right. I mean, beers like Miller Lite and Bud Light aren't that far off from water.
But you're not talking about those, are you?
I'm not. I'm talking about Mike's Beer of the Week. This week's beer comes to you from Throwback Brewery and is their Cheek Squeezer, a 4.9% cherry sour. And I'm not talking about your butt cheeks getting squeezed, but how sour this beer was. My first sip, whoo, those cheeks were squeezed by the level of sour. Granted, that was also because I wasn't expecting a sour when I first took a sip of this beer. To be fair, I just grabbed a beer out of my cooler and didn't look to see what kind of type it was. I just thought saw it was a low alcohol content. I'm like, perfect. So, was not mentally prepared for a sour. But this thing was fantastic. If you're ever in the Northampton area of New Hampshire, I highly recommend checking it out. The Untapped rating and my rating are both a 3.75. Now that our thirst has been quenched, let's shift gears to talk about My Hero Academia Season 7. My Hero Academia, Episode 144, Division. The show tells us it's a few days ago. We see All Might sending Denki flying when he opens the door at UA. All Might is running down the plan for the final battle with Class 1A. He doesn't expect all the pro heroes to succeed in finding All for One. Class 1A asks if that means they're giving up, but Eraserhead has a plan. His plan is to massage reality to make All for One believe he's in control. Bakugo says they need to stroke the massive ego of the walking ball sack, and I absolutely lost it at this quote. Class 1A rejoices at the news of Ayama helping them out.
Yeah, the some of the verbiage they used in this scene was whoever was on the translation team. I'm like, is this actually what it's translated from, or did someone on the translation team take a few liberties? But yeah, to be fair, All for One does look like a scrote.
Say Bakugo's always been rather angry, but now he's getting vulgar.
Momo asks how they're going to deceive All for One. All Might says he has thought of that too, and introduces us to their secret weapon to deceive All for One on the phone. Shinso enters the room, and for those who might need a refresher on his quirk, he has the ability to brainwash someone. Froppy is confused at how Shinso will help as his ability acted differently during the combat training. Shinso has been working hard on his quirk in advance of transferring to the hero course. He can't believe how happy Class 1A is and wonders what their problem is.
Not gonna lie, I forgot about Shinzo. Like I remembered his character design, but I didn't remember like who he was or what he could do.
He might be my favorite member of Class 1B because like the goofy stuff that he does when he's just like, someone from Class 1A slightly fails, and he's like, no one from Class 1B would have missed that up. Class 1B truly is the superior class, you know. And
Sean,
like he would
Sean,
always,
you're talking about the wrong character.
oh crap, I was talking about wrong guy.
You were talking about
Yeah.
Phantom Thief.
Whoops, delete this, Matt. I'm not gonna lie, I was only half paying attention. I thought we were on Phantom Thief. So
Sean's still in incognito mode.
I was
Cougar
watching
mode,
TikTok.
engage.
Can you blame me? Uh, okay. Shinso. Yeah, Shinso's a pretty cool guy. I like his new outfit. The end.
Oh.
You can cut all that out. Just go straight to turtle thoughts.
Nah, I'm torn. I don't know what to do. I don't know if I should leave it in or cut it all
Editor's choice.
out.
Sean will just have to listen to see what happens.
Well, actually, listen to the podcast. Hold up, guys.
I'm in it. I don't have to listen to it.
I
I know it.
listened to the first 15 seconds and click the like button. It's hard listening to yourself. Adam Driver always says he can't watch himself act. And like, man, do I hate hearing myself on the podcast.
It's definitely different if you're not used to it.
Fumakagi wonders that even if the trick works on All for One, what is the plan as the hero's numbers have been reduced? We see Eraserhead and Phantom Thief from Class 1B. We learn that Phantom Thief is to steal Kurogiri's quirk, so that explains how the portals opened last episode. We get some much needed backstory on Phantom Thief. He was always told that he would be a side character and not an actual hero. I love how this show gives even the minor characters backstory.
I love that too. One of the things that draws me to My Hero Academia is the large cast. I love shows with large casts. Some people, I watch some shows and I feel like there's straight up like 6 characters, and unfortunately, those 6 characters usually like one dude and like his harem of girls who are like interested in him for no reason. But I'm really happy whenever like every minor character has some sort of backstory, and I love that.
Yeah, this show's done a great job with the backstories for all these characters. And you would think in a show with a cast this large, it would be pretty daunting to do that. And a lot of people would probably shy away from that and be like, well, you're in the fold and we don't need to know about your backstory that much. But this show does go out of its way to do that. And it's better for it.
It's time to fight! The villains and the heroes charge at each other. Shigaraki tries to talk to Dabi, who is too hellbent on Endeavor. All Might activates System Troy as a fortress-like prison rises from the ground, capturing most of the villains. All for One says that the Noma will have no issues destroying it in seconds, so why go through the trouble? That's a great question, All for One. All Might has the answer for you. The prisons start to move towards the portals to split up the villains.
This was a crazy plan.
Yeah, it is pretty crazy. But I kind of like that there is a creative plan instead of like just lure him to this spot and jump him. Like there's actually like a little bit of creative writing here. Yeah, because sometimes that's all authors have in the tank. They're just like, yeah, I don't know, that's the best I got. But here there's like a pretty wild plan, and I like it.
I do too. I was wondering, they kept setting up like, we got to split them up. Well, how are we going to do that? And this was a very cool way of doing it.
The nameless oh, sorry, Sean.
I
Go
know. I
ahead.
do want to say though that the portals. What's the limit on where you can set a portal? Because I probably would have dumped some like right into the middle of the ocean, or like
But that wouldn't be
um
very hero-like.
oh, at this point it's war. Don't they realize? You know what I'm saying? Okay, so hold up. I'm throwing it out there. There's the hero thing, right? And there's like your government will collapse. Like the entire country is over if you lose. Just start executing villains. I'm not even joking. Just start executing them. Right then and there. There's a line, right? There's a line. And where it's like, yeah, like there's a line that normal citizens have, and there's a line where you are the military and these are terrorists. And you gotta take them down because they're gonna kill a bunch of people if you don't. So I'm just throwing it out there. Dump them right into the Earth's core, maybe the sun, you know, maybe outer space. Maybe it's a little too brutal, but I'm like, listen, man. these aren't just like regular. These aren't your guy like I robbed a bank because like there's social injustices and I can't make a living. It's like I'm going to overthrow the government here and possibly take over the world later. It's like, yeah, you know what? Maybe, just maybe, we're gonna make this a little easier.
Yeah, I kinda agree with you, I was thinking the same thing, like, not only does, was it, All for One? Yeah, I always get these abilities confused.
Yeah, I
All
flip
for
them too.
Yeah, I flip him all the time. Not only is All for One gonna bring down Japan, but he has basically said that, like, he's gonna take over the world, so, yeah, warp his ass to the sun. Done.
Like, I'm not gonna lie, if I'm like if I'm another one of these world governments, there's a possibility I actually have like a nuclear missile aimed at this country right now because and they just like pray that it does what it has to do because yeah, for real, if the heroes lose, that's it.
Yeah.
That's it.
The nameless villains begin to freak out and start hammering on the walls to destroy the prison. Well, that didn't work. Or did it? The heroes figured they would need a moment of confusion to use their powers to force the villains through the portals. I love Phantom Thief's reactions to pulling the strings.
This is Phantom Thief's return to form. You know, as I may have mentioned in the past, I love when Phantom Thief is just like laughing and just like putting other people down and saying that he's so great. He always does this crap. And I love the laughing and just like talking himself up. It makes me laugh. I mean, to be fair, like if I was a student here, I would hate him so much. Like I want to wail on him every chance I got. But it's still funny.
Yeah, I kinda love this guy. He's very villain-like, but as a hero. So he's throwing all the taunts. He's like, "Look how foolish you are. Watch me just totally ruin all of your plans because I am amazing." And I'm like, "Yeah, this guy's pretty funny. I would like to work with him on a team."
Deku goes to punch one of the prisons through a portal, but gets caught on the hand by a rope and gets pulled through a different portal. Bakugo calls out for him. Aw, he really cares for Deku. We learn that the villains and heroes have been sent to 8 different locations across Japan that the heroes have picked out. All Might says it's time to move on to phase 2 as he spits blood.
Oh, he really cares for Deku? Mike, you're not one of those Baku Deku shippers, are you?
Uh-oh.
To be fair, apparently this is one of those fandoms where the shipping gets a little out of hand at times.
Shipping get out of hand? That would never happen.
Never in
No.
any fandom.
No,
Never.
definitely
Never.
not us trying to ship last in free rent.
But the okay, so I do want to throw this out there. Whatever's holding on to Deku's arm had better be powerful because he's freaking as strong as All Might, and all he has to do is pump up his arm and yank to not get pulled somewhere. So boy, I hope whoever's pulling that is the strong better be as strong as Gigantomachia. Right? Right?
That's a valid point.
That is, yeah.
I kinda didn't think about it in the moment because it was happening. I'm like, "Whoa, what's this?" But yeah, no, you have a point.
Maybe it was the element of surprise.
That's what I'm thinking. Caught by surprise, caught off balance type of thing. I mean, but still, I'm like, I don't know when you see who's on the other end. Well, we'll get there. We'll get there.
Yeah, he's incredibly strong, but, like, I don't remember, like, was he in midair? Because if he's in midair, then, like, he could be easily pulled in a direction. I don't know.
I don't think he was.
That kinda makes it worse.
We learn where all the major villains have been sent. We learn that All for One has been sent to the Gunga Villa site. Hawks attempts to attack him to no avail. Endeavor is there with him. Endeavor talks about how All for One's hubris will be his downfall. We learn that Dobby and Todoroki have been sent to the Kamino Ward location. That's going to be one hell of a fight. Bakugo, Best Jeanist, and Shigaraki have been sent to the sky above UA. Bakugo tells Best Jeanist, or as he calls him, Denim Head, that the villains pulled a fast one and Deku is gone. We learn that Toga pulled Deku through her portal to Akato Island. Uraka is also at this location. Deku is confused on why Danger Sense didn't activate. That power has been really failing him of late.
Yeah, for some reason, whenever there's a woman involved, he just can't. Yeah, the danger sense just doesn't wanna activate. But I also want to throw this one out there. I missed that it was called Sky Above UA, and I'm like, yeah, Bakugo, Best Genius, and Shigaraki are going to Sky Above UA. Well, it looks like whoever has been sent there will really truly see the sky above when Shigaraki absolutely solos them all because Deku didn't make it.
That ruined the entire plan. They're all doomed.
Yeah. Yeah, wait till he uses decay and just blows them all up. It's gonna be great, man. Everyone's dust. That'd be quite an ending, man. Just dust a third of the cast.
Wow. I mean, he could do it too. So this will be very interesting.
Yeah, though knowing this author, he'll only like dust the women for some reason, and then like all the
Oh,
guys will be fine.
oh no.
Because that's just kind of how the author seems to write.
Oh no.
We learn that Shigaraki is the only villain at his location. His eyes are all white while he tries to attack, but he learns that the prison is full of traps, like floating blocks and electromagnetic barriers. Best Jeanist squares off with Shigaraki. We learn that the real name for this location is Coffin in the Sky. We learn the support squad has used information of Shigaraki's battles against Deku and Star and Stripe to help develop it. We see how much, in terms of resources, has gone into creating Coffin in the Sky.
Oh, it's gonna be a coffin, all right, but not for Shigaraki.
Oh no.
They're all dead! They're all dead! There's just ash everywhere!
I do like the name Coffin in the Sky. That is pretty badass.
Send me up to the coffin in the sky. Yeah, the
Yes, I love it.
We see Phantom Thief using Eraserhead's quirk to neutralize Shigaraki from afar. I didn't have Phantom Thief playing a major role in this fight on my bingo card. Mirko attempts to attack Shigaraki. His arm transforms and hits her, much to the surprise of the heroes.
Woo!
What did you two think of this episode?
There's a lot that went down in this one.
pretty good, except for yeah, the way they had Deku get pulled was, you know,
Kind of weird.
yeah. I'm like, really? I'm like Toga, with the strength of a high school girl. She doesn't even train. You know what I mean? If it was one of the
But
UA, if it was one of the UA girls, I'd be like, yeah, man, they're all fit as heck because like they do so much training. I'm like, is Toga really training? Like, man, the girl looks anorexic. Like, you really think she has the muscles to pull Deku? Like, if that would have wrapped around him, he could have just kept pushing that metal thing and shouldn't have moved at all. But I'm done griping on that. Yeah,
but Sean, she has the power of love.
yeah, well, that'll take you pretty far in anime. But the power of friendship is stronger.
Nothing can top the power of friendship.
Friendship is the best thing ever. Yeah, this was a good episode. It's the first episode of the final battle, and everything sort of went according to plan except for the whole Deku thing. So I'm interested to actually see Deku not being where he is supposed to be, how that affects the overall plan. Obviously, Shigaraki is a major destructive force, so I'm very curious to see how that fight goes without Deku being there when he was supposed to be. It was good. I'm very excited to see more just because I want to see this fight break down and who beats who and what happens.
I feel like we've had some weird pacing so far this season. Like we started with the big fight with Star and Stripe, and now we're getting into the world building to prepare for the final battle. So I'm very much looking forward to finally getting into the swing of things of villains versus heroes. But I did really dig this episode. And now it is time for the Waifu of the Week. Sean, who's your Waifu of the Week?
I'm gonna pick Phantom Thief. Who would have thought this man could play such a pivotal role in like the success of the heroes? It's kind of crazy that not only did he provide the transportation, he also locks down, essentially the main villain. You're just like, well, dang, nice work, dude. Don't know what else I can say. But he probably won't be heavily featured unless he's getting disintegrated. Whenever all of them die.
Turtle, who is your Waifu of the Week?
This week, I am also going with Phantom Thief. This guy's just crazy, and I really love it. This plan of the heroes literally hinges on this guy and his ability to, copy quirks and learn to use them efficiently. So he was able in like a couple days to copy the portal quirk and be able to use it like it's his own, and he's been using it for years. So I mean, without him, this plan would not have worked, and he's hilarious. So yeah, Phantom Thief for me.
We're making it a clean sweep, and I'm also going with Phantom Thief, much for the reasons that the two of you have already discussed. Thank you all for joining us this week as we watch Kaiju number 8 in My Hero Academia. I'm going to kick it over to Sean for some news about Tekko. Take it away, Sean.
If you're listening to this episode on the day that it drops, we are currently at Tekko. Please, well, at least I am. I don't know about the other guys, but but I think we all plan on being there on Saturday. So if you're listening on Friday or early on Saturday morning, swing by downtown Pittsburgh at the convention center and show up at Tekko. We're gonna be hanging out. A lot. We spend a lot of time in the dealer's room at Artist Alley, especially. So if you see us walking around with our Anime Banter podcast T-shirts, feel free to say hi. It'd be nice to meet some fans. So yeah, please swing on by to Tekko. We hope you'll join us next week for episode 68 of the Anime Banter podcast, where we will continue our watch of My Hero Academia Season 7 and Kaiju number 8. Please give us a 5-star review on all platforms that allow reviews. If you are listening on YouTube, please like the video, hit the notification bell, and leave a comment. The Anime Banter podcast can be found on Facebook, X, Instagram, Threads, and YouTube. Thank you all for joining, and we will talk to you next week.